Okay, guys, I've seen one paragraph of your paper so far. I think you all have stuff that you can work with. Go back to the last YouTube lecture and look at the comments that I left for you. I've given you some ideas about where to go next. Now, what you need to do now is think a little bit more about the structure of your essay. Where does it go from here? How does it operate? How does it grow? I'm leaving you a link to one of my favorite pages. It's a transition page. This is the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Writing Center page, and it's a whole handout just about transitions. I wish I had more visual software to work with you, because one of the things I love to do is I love to dissect a paragraph and show how this works, but I don't exactly have that functionality on this computer, so I'm going to have to kind of talk you through it. Here's what you need to do. Take a look at this page and look at the different types of transitions you can use. If you go down to the very bottom, you'll see this chart, right? You see similarity, exception, contrast, sequence and order, time, example, emphasis. These are all different types of transitions. What you can do is you can design a whole paper around these transitional structures. Let me give you an example. Sequence and order. Let me use, in fact, I'm going to go to Angel right now. Let me use Angela Spellman. Let me use your paper real quick. You're writing about the oppression of Christians in different areas, right? So one of the pieces of advice that I gave you is that what you need to do is you need to try to find a way to explore this one area at a time. First, we'll talk about the Middle East. Next, we'll talk about China. Next, we'll talk about Iran. You see how I'm using those transitions? And what I would do is I would write a paragraph for every single area and just explore them one at a time. Now, you don't have to follow that rigidly, but what that's going to do is it's going to help you blow your paper up and put more information out there. Does that make sense? It's going to help you get to your 5-page limit. Similarly, let me choose another one. Who was the one who wrote about cars and vehicles? Let me look back at the list. Boop-a-doo. I believe that is that you, Miranda? Boop-a-doo. Excuse me one minute. I'm trying to bring up the old. Oh, here we go. Yeah. You're writing about racing. One of the things we could talk about, and you talk about knowing how to handle the vehicle. Well, going back to the transition list, let's choose a different one. Do do do. Let's say we want to pick out one using. I'm trying to think what would work really well here. Uh, Example might work really well. Let's say there are 4 or 5 different things you need to understand about racing. You could use the same thing, sequence order. The first thing you need to know, the next thing you need to know. Every once in a while, you might sprinkle in a transition that does emphasis. Indeed, knowing how to handle a car is one of the most important reasons and one of the most important things you need to understand about racing. And you go on to not only talk about that, but you go on to explain why it's the most important. That's emphasis. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if you look at this list, you can use these transitions to design your paragraphs. Let me give you one point of advice. Each of these transitions needs to come in at the beginning of the paragraph. Start first, second, third. Start your paragraph with something like even, indeed, in fact, of course. For example, for instance, if you start your paragraphs with stuff like that, it's going to end up making much more sense and it's going to flow much better. Now, one other thing I haven't talked to you guys about yet is research. I asked you to go and look up information. I asked you to go and find stuff for your source reviews, but how do we take information from those source reviews and actually, put it in the paper? How do you do that? It's actually quite easy. And I'm going to post some links for you about MLA. And MLA is just the rules that we follow in order to use research. That's how we work it, okay? But they've changed the rules a little bit on this. And you can cite something for research. If it's an online source, all you have to do is name drop. Like, I believe, Miranda, one of the things that you did, and I saw a lot of you doing this, and this is actually pretty good. If you just mention where you got it from, you're covered. Then you just have to put a works cited page at the end that mentions it. So a lot of you guys are on the right track. What I want you to do today or this week, and we've got to get this paper together quick because we're running out of time. I want you to write at least a page I want you to go into the next paragraph. And the easiest way to do this is to think about it in terms of what 5 things am I going to talk about? If you can divide your topic into 5 things and you move from one subject to the next, you're going to have much better coherence. Try to have even a source in every paragraph if you can, where you name drop and cite that source and tell me where it's coming from, and we can go from there. I want you guys to do the exact same thing you did last week, but I want you to use the comments that I gave you in the last forum and what I'm telling you today, and I want to see if you can give me 2 full paragraphs. Don't use what you used before. Go forward. Write me an expansion. Give me a full page, and I'll be in to look at it. We got to reach 5 pages. I want you to get 5 pages to me by the end of the semester. In the final portfolio, you can go ahead and start turning these things in and getting advice from me. And I'm going to be in these forums, and I'm going to be continually providing advice for you, continually steering you and asking you to write page, 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 so that when we get near the end of the semester, you'll be a lot closer than you would have been. At this point, it's open. Submit, submit, submit. Submit over and over and over again. Send me drafts of your paper. Put it in the drop boxes. I will keep grading it, and when you have a grade that you're satisfied with, you're done. All right? So that's the way this is going to work. Just to reiterate, I want you guys to write me 2 new paragraphs today about your topic. I want them both to have some type of transition from this UNC Chapel Hill page. If you can do that, you're going to have another chunk of your essay down. You might even have a full page working. And we're just going to keep expanding, all right? We're going to keep moving forward. Rather than asking you to write this all in one big chunk, I want to see it as you write it. So keep it up. I'll keep looking in the forums. I'll keep hanging out in the course lobby, and we'll go from there. Good luck. Contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.